Hi, this video is intended to look at property prices and how they increase over time. We're going to look at what happens and when. So let's look at the historical house price data and what has happened over time as an average. There is a cycle. This cycle is an ebb and flow that lasts for 6 to 8 years of relative flatness and then 7 to 10 years of growth. And usually that growth is very good or outstanding. This ebb and flow is generic and consistently repeats over time. Since 1957, property prices have risen at an average of 11.3% a year. This is data that's kept on a land register website, and if you want, you can go and find it for yourself and check what I'm saying is correct. And for the last 85 years, the average is 7.9% growth every year. Now, most people who have ever read any article or watched anything on TV will have heard of the North-South divide. What exactly is it, and is it real? If you look at the data on this slide, you'll see that it isn't really a real thing. At least not when it comes to price rises. If we'd have bought two houses in the early 80s for £100,000 each, one in the north of England and one in the south of England, those two houses would have gone up by a similar amount by 1990. A little bit more in the south, but not a great deal. They both doubled in value. Now between 1990 and 2000, you can see that they've only increased in value by 19% in the north and 46% in the south. So there's quite a gap opened up there. But between 2000 and 2010, you can see that trend has reversed. So while they've increased by 102% in 10 years in the north, they've only increased by 75% in the south. And that's brought the two numbers closer together again. So you can see that over nearly a 3-decade period, the south went up by a multiple of 5.5 and the north went up by a multiple of 5. You can track this further back over time and you'll see that the increase will roughly be the same. Now, on this graph, you can see that a house bought for £3,800 in 1969 would have been worth £215,500 by 2018. And that's an average growth over nearly 50 years of 8.4% growth a year. The yellow line shows a growth of 5% over the same period. The reason that there is such a huge difference in the graph is that the growth is compounded. That means if we model at 5% growth and the house prices actually increase by 7.9%, now remember that's the average over the last 85 years, you can see that even after just 12 or 13 years, we've got actually achieved 11 times the growth that we've modelled at 5%. So I would encourage you to model on that 5% growth. If you do that, you will always be safe and secure, and you will always have headroom. Now over the next decade, I don't think we're going to see the 7.9% average. But I do think that we'll get 6, maybe 7%. Now you do have to remember, the previous 85 years covers a Great Depression and the Second World War. If we've gone through those two periods of upheaval and still maintained 7.9% over that 85-year period, I'm very comfortable to model at 5%, even without a crystal ball. So, what's happened over the last 9 years? In this table, you can see the column on the left goes back to 2010. The column on the right goes to 2005. And if we look at the prices, we can see that they rise first in London. You can see that in the 9 years shown, London has risen by almost 67%. Then the prices wash out in a ripple effect. They went up 54% in outer London, 43.8% in the southeast, and then it moves into East Anglia and then moves up north. The East Midlands are 34%, and West Midlands 31%. Then it affects Yorkshire and Humberside at almost 18%. But here's the thing, when they go down, they move in the same way. And if you're aware of the pattern, you can plan around it. Now there are investors in London, and they know this. And they might look at these figures and say, the Midlands is 30% behind London. If I think London has peaked, I'm going to buy out in the Midlands. As this area is 30% behind London, it will continue to grow until it catches up. When that happens, we will go and buy in Yorkshire or Manchester and take advantage of that continued growth. A year or so after that, people will be buying further north, up to Newcastle or the northwest, because the Midlands will have moved already. Once you understand this, you can also buy in the right areas. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please click on like and subscribe and watch out for more of my videos on property investing.